No penalty. That's the FIA's verdict after Max Verstappen's outrageous move on Lewis Hamilton in Hungary. But when you see what happened at turn 4, you might think they've lost their minds. Picture it. 280 kilometers per hour, two cars side by side, and in the blink of an eye, Hamilton's out of road. And now, Verstappen's finally broken his silence, with a message that has fans roaring, pundits fighting, and the FIA defending their decision. Let's break it down. It was lap 29 and the Dutchman had just rejoined the hunt. After his first stop for hards, Verstappen was charging through the mid-pack. Hamilton, meanwhile, was limping along in 12th, having qualified P12. As they crested turn 3, Verstappen had fresher tires and a burst of momentum. Verstappen kept his car tight to Hamilton's Ferrari, lining up the inside for the sweeping left turn 4. On entry, he flashed ahead. The Red Bull's nose barely side by side with the Ferrari. Hamilton saw it late and instinctively swerved right into the abrasive runoff. That was it. No bump, no bang, just Hamilton's rear tires sliding off track onto asphalt. Verstappen zipped by cleanly, a courageous, high-speed pass, and snapped up the spot. In a heartbeat, it was done. Verstappen was gone, Hamilton was tiptoeing back on track with smoking tires, and the debate over what really happened had just begun. Importantly, onboard and TV replays never showed contact. All we got was Verstappen hugging the inside line and Hamilton hitting the runoff. It looked dicey, but it was wheel-to-wheel racing. As the stewards put it, no contact, an incident does not qualify as forcing another car off track. In other words, Verstappen's maneuver was judged legal. He simply outdrove Hamilton that corner. And, oh, how Verstappen celebrated later. "We didn't even touch," he told the press, baffled by the investigation. "I think both of us didn't have the best weekends anyway," he shrugged, brushing it off. Even Red Bull cheekily tweeted, "Lap 30, Max scares Lewis off the road at turn 4 and is up to P11. A taunt that had F1 Twitter losing its mind. Fans responded with memes and cheers. One fan replied, "Tweet of the year." That's how riled up this moment got the community. So was it fair play or foul? Red Bull's own strategist, Stephen Knowles, gave us the inside scoop. Speaking on the Inside Track podcast, he basically said, Verstappen knows exactly how to push the rules. Knowles admitted the incident was ambitious, and the replays were tricky to interpret. He noted that camera angles were unhelpful. Sometimes you can't tell if contact happened. Crucially, Knowles pointed out that Verstappen explained he had full control and could have cut back to let Hamilton stay on track. Instead, when Lewis bailed to the runoff, Verstappen didn't hesitate. He grabbed the space, the position, and maybe even a little piece of Hamilton's pride. Knowles even highlighted a subtlety in stewarding. If Hamilton had argued strongly, it might have swayed things. Hamilton didn't even show up to the hearing, a move Knowles says probably tipped the scales in Max's favor. In other words, Hamilton's absence meant the stewards just went off the video and facts. So Steve Knowles basically agrees with the stewards. No intentional foul play, just an extremely close call on track. He backed Verstappen's strategy background too. Knowles praised Verstappen's huge capacity to learn the regs, saying Verstappen's approach on overtakes is an art form. The guy knows exactly what he can get away with. This explains the confidence behind that inside pass. Knowles said, "You have to have an inch of luck for moves like this," and clearly Verstappen had inches in his favor. Officially, the FIA stewards treated this like any other post-race inquiry. Hamilton waived his right to defend himself in person, but the stewards heard from Verstappen and the Ferrari team. The hearing transcript is pretty cold-blooded. Verstappen said he gained some momentum and led Hamilton into turn 4 with fresher tires. He emphasized he was in control and could have held the line, leaving Lewis space if needed. But when Hamilton went off, Verstappen didn't have to. Ferrari's rep told the stewards there was no contact, and that Hamilton chose not to stay on track. With all the facts in, the stewards simply ruled Verstappen hadn't broken the rules. Their exact words, "No contact and incident does not qualify as forcing another car off track." Boom! Case closed. No penalty for either driver. Verstappen kept the position, eventually P9 at the finish, and Hamilton kept P12. Quick pit stop. We are just a few subscribers away from hitting 1,000, so if you're enjoying this breakdown, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next F1 controversy. Let's continue. It's worth noting a technical point. Verstappen's front wing wasn't fully alongside Hamilton's mirror at the apex, meaning Hamilton wasn't fully covered. FIA rules say you need an axle alongside to force a pass. The stewards implied Verstappen didn't meet that threshold, so Lewis was still ahead in a sense when he ran wide. But since there was no collision, they chalked it up to racing. Bottom line, the FIA said, "Move on, nothing to see here." Verstappen escaped with a slap on the wrist. Actually, just a warning about his FP2 towel toss. No penalty for this move. That outcome left many jaws on the track. After races like this, everyone has an opinion. Verstappen felt vindicated, pointing out that if Hamilton really cared, he would have sat in the steward's room. Lewis was not there, he chuckled, implying Hamilton didn't think it was a big deal. Hamilton himself was unusually quiet, even told the press he didn't really remember the whole incident. The man blamed his miserable weekend for feeling useless and was more upset about Ferrari's pace than this one-over battle. Now, after the fires have cooled in Budapest, the question is, what next? Verstappen's lead in the championship is now a razor-thin 8 points over Leclerc. Ferrari finally looks strong again, and Mercedes rebounded with Russell on the podium. Meanwhile, Hamilton's slump has everyone wondering if his old magic will return in the final push. With the summer break looming and the Dutch GP around the corner, tensions will be peaking. Will Hamilton come back swinging for Ferrari on his home soil? Will Verstappen double down on bold moves, or be more cautious with the title at stake? And can Red Bull address those frustrating strategy blips before Zandvoort? One thing's certain, the Verstappen-Hamilton saga is far from over. Who will answer the challenge when F1 resumes? Can Verstappen rebound from this relative stumble, or will Hamilton upend the standings in the closing races? The championship fight is on a knife's edge, and every corner will count. We want to hear your verdict. Was Verstappen in the right, or should the stewards have penalized him? Drop a comment below and let's debate. Share your thoughts on every angle, the driving skills, the strategy, and even the stewards' decision-making. We love hearing from fans who see the race differently, whether you're Team Verstappen, Team Hamilton, or just a neutral F1 fanatic. And remember, if you're hungry for more controversial moments, behind-the-scenes insights, and in-depth analysis, like and subscribe, because the next episode could be coming sooner than you think, and you won't want to miss it.